Ever so often in life, you cross paths with someone who has a unique perspective of a universal topic, a way of life, or a way of being. P.L. Sweets is one of those individuals. In the age of celebrity, he is a man who enjoys being a part of the background, the tapestry of the business of music. He indeed embodies the true essence of a record producer. Many of his collaborators describe him as the best kept secret. A beautiful mind and a true professional who is passionate about his craft. The industry veteran has traveled the world as a musician and produced records for every major record label with its many artists. From the mighty OJs to Foxy Brown to Nick Cannon, amongst others. And most recently, he delivered to us the prototype from Sean Slow. Please welcome to the conversation, Mr. P.L. Sweets.
From Harlem, New York City. I'm a Harlem cat. I grew up in the same neighborhood as Maze, Cam, Loon, Big L, Dame Dash. A lot of cats in the neighborhood. Grew up right in Harlem. Drew Hamilton Projects. What's up? That's where it all began. Y'all, you really gonna ask me that question, yo? Like in dog years? In dog years, I'm producing like 3 chunks, yo. Like 3 years. Like 3 dog years. Like you add it up, you know what I'm saying? But I was afforded to grow up in a time where music was music. In order to play on a record, you had to be a musician. People still cutting the 2-inch, 24 track, Studer, to do a record. So I grew up in that era, and at that time when I started out as a DJ, so I was a show jock. I toured the world with Ani Kamosi, as a show jock in the streets of Harlem, like doing all the tricks, backspitting, drop-in, cutting with one hand, and all that type of stuff. But at the same time, my party stuff was my blends was hot because let's say for instance, I would float an acapella, then play something popular acapella on the keyboard under the acapella. Then at the same hand, I got my instrumental from another record set, and so my stuff is really, really creative. And a friend of mine got my tape to a guy by the name of Leroy Burgess, who changed my life and then took me under his wing and began to show me production, how to arrange strings, do horns, understanding the range of a viola, of a cello, of a flugel horn, understanding how to produce vocals. And then so you take those two things, you put them together, and that's the genesis of who I am, P.L. Sweets, who I am as a producer. My first record on a major was I did a remix for a group named Jane. They had a big record called Listen to the Vibe. And this is where the importance of relationships. My lawyer is Londell McMillan, and if you know anything about music business, he's like one of the biggest lawyers in the game. He's the cat that kind of gave me my first chance. Ironically, how I got the remix was I didn't have the equipment I needed to actually produce a replica of it to give to the group. So he asked me to come to his office. He gave me about $2,000. I went out and bought like a 8-track half-inch, and had a 950. I had a Akai 950 sample at the time. Matter of fact, I still have it. And chopped the acapella up, and I did 3 versions of the remix and submitted it. And then when I got my check, I paid him back. Obviously, because he wanted his money. And but the crazy thing about it is that I did this real West Coast. They picked this real West Coast version I did, and they only released it in the West Coast. Production process, man, it's hard to describe, but I'll try. Let's just start from a concept of reality is that music is created from 12 notes. Every style, genre, whatever is created from 12 notes. So inside those 12 notes, that's when music is created. And inside those 12 notes are pitches and tones. Pitches and tones you hear everywhere from the hum of your engine to the wind going past your car to someone hitting a nail. There's a pitch and a tone to that. So I'm a firm believer that anything you hear, you can create music with. So I'm extremely open. I understand the parameter of music, but the DJ side of me allows me to break those parameters. So inside of that, my creative process, I'm gonna start with, beating a tube out of a paper towel, and then taping that and then speaking through it and making a drum out of that. And, just recently I just did a song for Simo called Different, and I used the hi-hat. It's really backwards wind noise through a synthesizer. So that's the open hi-hat sound on that record. So I'm just a firm believer in creating things that are interesting. So my creative process is a little different because I approach it from that everything I hear can be used as music. So I may start with a beat, I may start with a sound, I may start with a melody. It may start anywhere. I may start by limiting myself to what I'm not going to use. I may start out and say I'm not going to use any hi-hats at all. So I'm not going to use any claps at all.